it's never been the best talent in my swimming, but it's room for growth, and I think that's really exciting. But to answer your question, I think it really just boils down to the training that I've done to really have that good back half.
Welcome to Social Kick. We got the full crew. I'm Brian Lundquist. He's Luke Paddington. That's Dr. John Mullen and Simone Manuel. How are you, Simone? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are good. We are excited to talk to you, as was our audience. So we always poll our audience on Instagram at Social Kick Swim and YouTube, and they came together with a few questions for us. First, this one's from Haiti Gome, wants to know, when are those Fire Black and Gold signature arena suits getting released to the public?
Oh, they've already been released, I think maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
Well, so I think they're on the site still.
Well, that's us for checking, but all right. Well, there you go, Haiti. Let's go. Just go to the website. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. These we added several people wanting to know about this. As always, this from Kinsley B162 and Chance Nice Copada says favorite pre-race song or walk-up song.
Ooh.
Honestly, I don't listen to too much music before I walk out. So I really can't give an answer.
All right.
Sorry.
But what if you had to pick a song to walk out, like way back when if we were winning our heat in prelims, you got to pick a song to walk out to.
Yeah.
Just dead silence? You're going to go that move?
No. Well, I mean, I guess I have listened to music before some of my best races. I listen to a lot of gospel music. It really puts me in a good mindset, honestly.
Nice.
Before I race, it just calms my nerves. But I'm not sure what a walkout song with the rest of the audience would be. I probably wouldn't even be aware of what song is on, to be honest. I feel like once I get ready for a race, like all blinders are on.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have to give you a quick aside to this because it's a complete opposite of gospel music. I remember Cesar Cielo got back from World Championships back in like Phelps prime, and Phelps was like listening to music, and this is in 2007. So like hype around all the gold medals, and he wouldn't tell the media like what he was listening to, but he said it was always listening to the same song, right? And Cesar got back and he goes, he was listening to Smack That.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I don't want to disclose that information. Not a bad one though, but
not a bad one. We all got a good laugh
not
out
PG.
of that one. No, exactly. Definitely not gospel. All right, those last ones from our friend of the pod, Neophyte O'Shara, wants to know, are tacos better in Tempe or Austin?
I have not had tacos in Austin yet. I just got here 2 weeks ago on today. Today is, I guess, my 2-week anniversary of arriving in Austin. So I have not had the tacos yet. I don't think I've even had tacos in Tempe yet, to be honest, for as long as I've been there.
Man, audience, bad question.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I think that's our first total swing and a miss 0 for 3, but that's all right. We'll keep cracking
Maybe
at
it's
it.
me. Maybe I'm the problem.
You can't be the problem, but hey, coming off 2 big PBs already, 2 weeks in Austin.
Yeah.
Catch us up on what's going on with you. What's new in your world? You're in a new spot, a little bit closer to home now. So yeah, what's new in life?
Yeah. So I guess after Paris, I took some time off, like any Olympian probably usually wants to. And just with the journey I've had in the sport, I have understood that rest is so important. So after Paris, I took about 14 weeks out of the water.
Wow. Okay.
And got back in mid-October, trained in Tempe. At the time, I was undecided on if I wanted to come to Austin or stay at ASU. It's a big change, a big transition. I'm married, so I can't just take my own needs into account. And so I had to kind of go through that process with my husband and I, and really just figure out what was the best move for both of us. Mm-hmm. So I took 14 weeks out of the water, spent some time in Tempe trying to figure out if I wanted to come here or not. Of course, it's kind of like a perfect storm. With me working with Bob and Herbie, I had the best of both worlds working with both of them. And I feel like it was kind of like in some ways like a parent divorcing. Like you're kind of like, I don't know what that's like, but sometimes it's like you're trying to pick a side. It's like really tough. You're just a kid in the middle. But with Bob coming here, it kind of, like I said, was a perfect storm. My apartment right now is exactly 2 hours and 5 minutes away from my parents' home, and I can drive there. And just knowing that I'm later on in my career and I've spent so much of my adult career, I guess, from college till now away from home, I really just wanted to jump at the opportunity of being closer to home. And so that's really where I've kind of been just spending the last couple months trying to get here, trying to get some training in still in Tempe. So I come here and I'm in a decent spot. Wasn't taking it super serious for a while, and not that I'm not serious about what I was doing, but I just wanted to kind of dip my toe in. I did singles. I had some days off. I was traveling, doing some professional obligations and things like that. But now with the start of the new year, I feel like I'm in a good spot to kind of just put my head down and get to work and hopefully make the world championship team.
Oh, sick. So Bob and Herbie are your swimming parents that got divorced, and you got to hang out with your siblings, your swimming siblings. Who are you training with? Like, you left some brothers and sisters behind to be with some brothers and sisters. Who are you training with? Who you left behind? Who are you with now?
Wait, who's the mom and who's the dad in this parental coaching relationship?
Hey, it's a new world. Two dads. It's fine.
There you go. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I'm forever indebted to ASU swim and dive program. I mean, coming off my experience in 2021, I just wanted to find my love for the sport again. And I did at ASU. Like, those are some of the best teammates I feel like I've had in my entire career, and so supportive, and some of my best friends. So just seeing them the past weekend at the meet was special. When I was competing in my, signature races, they were cheering me on. They were lined up on the side of the pool. So I miss them already. And yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, but I'm excited about building relationships here. I don't know too many of the swimmers here, to be honest. 2 weeks in, so really trying to just learn names at this point. But right now I'm primarily with Bob. I've done a couple practices with Trevor, the sprint coach, up in Tempe. Like I said, I was with Bob and Herbie. Once Bob left, I was primarily only with Herbie. But, I was training with those guys up there. You have Johnny, Ilya, Philip, like all those guys, Jack Dolan. And then you have some of those pros with Michael and Grant. So I had a good crew up there, and especially some of the women. Caroline, she's been doing really well. So those are people I've been training with. But down here, still trying to figure out the crew. But, the other day I was in the lane with Luke Hobson. That's like pretty cool to me. Like, I'm geeking out. He's probably not geeking out, but it's such a privilege. Being a high achieving athlete, it really is such a privilege to train with other high achieving athletes. I mean, they work so hard. They're so committed, and they come to practice prepared and ready to work. And I've always just been someone that admires people that accomplish things at the highest level. And so I wouldn't say I'm fangirling, but it's been such a joy to train with the people that I'm currently training with at Texas, but also the people that I train with at ASU.
Yeah, speaking of, getting in the lane with Luke Hobson, obviously he's more 200, 500, 200, 400 guy. Before the show, we were talking like, obviously we knew you were with Herbie and Bob, and it's like, what type of day-to-day training is she doing? Is she in the sprint group? Is she doing more mid-D training? So as someone that, obviously is known as a sprinter, but someone that just closes every freaking race so hard, what is your training like, and what type of groups are you training in?
Yeah, I came from a club background that emphasized everything. I was on First Colony swim team. I trained with Coach Allison Beebe. And so I wouldn't necessarily say super high yardage, but I did a decent amount of yardage at that age, long repeats. And then I also had my sprint work as well. She didn't ever really want me to specialize in sprinting, even though she knew that was going to be my bread and butter. And so coming from that background, it's always been something that's been familiar for me. And it's always been something that I've truly enjoyed. I love to train everything. And I did that as well at Stanford. I did that as well at ASU with the mix of doing the hybrid of Bob and Herbie. Right now, it's mainly been Bob because in Tempe, I mainly was sprinting just to kind of get back in the groove of things and being 100% with Herbie. So I'm kind of just in some ways doing a reverse periodization of kind of getting in some of that preseason, work that in some ways I missed. I missed it because I spent 14 weeks out of the water. I kind of missed it a little bit because I did some of that sprint work, but it's always been a way that has kept my mind fresh. As a sprinter, it's kind of weird to say I don't like going fast all the time. I like swimming fast, but I don't like always doing max speed and feeling like I have to be on all the time. I feel like an immense pressure physically, but more so for me mentally and emotionally, because I'm so familiar with what my times need to be and how I need to perform. And so doing the mix of everything just keeps things fresh and light for me. And ultimately, I think it helps me have better sprinting.
That's why I swim so slow now, guys. That's exactly why I swim slow now. Okay.
Because you're 5 minutes off your best time. We get it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anxiety there.
Luke famously talks the most about swimming for anybody who doesn't swim ever. Yeah. No, that actually really resonates with me because that I think is really what burned me out at the end of my career and was the reason why I walked away, is because I really struggled mentally to be able to show up to the pool every day with that, like, okay, I'm gonna suffer, like I have to be able to empty the tank because that's what it takes for somebody like me to compete against the best guys. And that wore me out. So having balance in that is really, really important. I was really curious to find out from you, like, what, a lot of us, there's the training that you need, and that might not really align with what you love to do. And we all have this kind of necessary evil sometimes. And I can imagine Bob's got some very necessary evil sets.
All the time,
as does Herb, right? I mean, as
Yeah.
does Herb. We were talking to somebody recently, guys, I don't remember who it was, but we were saying, like, the hardest set they ever did was 1250s all out on 4 minutes. And that's like, that hurt. That's a different kind of hurt too, right? Oh, Johnny Cool's in it. And so I'm curious for you, like, what is kind of your bread and butter? What's in the sweet spot of, I'm really good at this? And also it benefits me, versus what are some things that you just, when they write it on the board, you're like, okay, I know I need it, but I hate it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been my swimming journey. And I guess my learning journey, especially going to ASU and doing some of the work I did with Bob and Herbie, because both of the training styles were different than I have ever had, even as a club swimmer. And at Stanford. And so I've always said, sometimes you have to do things you don't like. But I would say there's probably two sweet spots. Definitely sustained sprinting. I like to do longer sprint sets. The 1250s that Johnny's alluding to, I've felt that pain before, but I feel like those sets ultimately are what would help me finish 100 free strong. Because it's not just about being able to do 2 or 350s fast. To do 12 and get to number 9, 10, 11, 12 and have those 50s be solid. They're not going to be super great, but to have them be solid, I feel like that helps you physically, but ultimately mentally, when you make that turn that, hey, I've done a set like this, I can push through this pain, I know what it feels like, and I'm prepared for it. And I think other sets that probably are my sweet spot are 200 pace sets. I like those a lot. I like to not, as I mentioned before, have to just go 100%, but it's right up there because 200 for me is right up there at 100%. And just the rhythm of those sets. And I think for me, like I said, understanding that focusing on the 200 for me ultimately helps my 100 free, which is obviously my favorite event. Is, you always feel mentally prepared or mentally excited to do something that is going to really impact your performance. The sets that always grind my gears would have to be color sets.
Yeah.
I will have one this afternoon. They are never not anxiety inducing. And the first time I really did colors was when I got to ASU. So I feel like I'm still fairly new to it. I know a lot of coaches have different terms for them, like heart rate sets and things like that. But I think especially in the way that Bob structures it, it is a color set. And it was a challenge for me at the beginning. I didn't know what white pace was. I'm like, I just need to go fast. And I'd get to the red and I was going slower than the white. So just learning how to manage my stroke, manage my rhythm, manage my excitement around the set and trying to get after it and really swim it from a tactical standpoint has been a real challenge for me. And I'm someone whose heart rate is naturally higher. So a couple times, you know, Bob's like, what's your heart rate? And I'm like 2 or 3 beats higher. And he's like, you need to go slower. And most of the time when I'm told to go slower, it's during taper. Like it's not during the middle of the season when you feel like you're supposed to just be working hard. And so those are just the sets that I would probably have to say are my best and that I'm still working on and trying to improve on.
Yeah. So those are the times when you love swimming. Those are the times when you hate swimming. Those are the times when you can be really happy. And those are the times you could not be happy at all. Now in your journey, are you obviously recognizing things, the triggers that make you not enjoy the sport? How do you lean away from that and lean into what's going to make you enjoy what you're doing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, with a color set, for instance, I wouldn't say I don't enjoy it. I always feel so satisfied when I have a successful colors days. And I think part of it is kind of what we were talking about before with the expectation as a sprinter that I should just in some ways only be sprinting. It just feels good to do something that sometimes I don't think I'm capable of, or even others think I'm capable of doing. I'm always big on challenging myself. And so doing those colors days, it's a good mental challenge for me because I know I physically can do it. It's really about mentally getting my mind there. And that's what swimming is about when you get to this level. It's physical, but it's so mental in terms of how you approach things, what your attitude is behind things, and how you attack different obstacles. And for me, colors is probably one of my biggest obstacles. So I get nervous and I get anxious, but I also get really excited about these days as well. And so I think that's a long answer to your question, but that's kind of how I approach swimming in general. It's how I want to approach the next quad. I want to improve on things that maybe aren't my favorite, that maybe I'm not the best at, because I think ultimately it's going to make me a better swimmer. It's going to make me a well-rounded swimmer. And that's my goal for the sport. It's not just to be good at the 50, 100, and 200 free. At the end of the day, when I hang up my cap and goggles, I want to see what my full potential is in swimming as a whole.
So obviously yesterday's 200 IM was a sign of you're going to do the opposite to what my buddy George Ravel did. George Ravel was a medalist in 200 IM and then medaled in 50 free. It's all right. You heard it.
Yes.
Right?
I think 4 years is not long enough to improve my breaststroke, to be honest. But I mean, yeah, coming out of high school, I think I was solid at everything. If people looked at my times, like I could do just about any event from top to bottom, excluding like the 1,000 and the mile. Like that's a little too far. But yeah, I mean, it's my first meet post Paris. I really wanted to be no pressure. Haven't been in the pool too long. Haven't been in the weight room too long. I didn't feel like it was necessary for me to race the 50, 100, and 200 free. And so when I asked Bob, like if he was okay with the events I picked, he was all for it. And so I just thought it was a perfect opportunity to see what I can do. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it opens the door for allowing him to maybe put me in some of those IM practices and maybe give me a little butterfly work to kind of strengthen my butterfly. But it was fun. And that's also what swimming's about. So I'm really excited. I got 2 best times but you will not be seeing me try to compete for the 2 IM in Olympic trials in 28.
Well, good. You were making me worried there for a second. I'm like,
I made a lot of people worried.
Yeah, you can't take away that 50 and 100 closing speed.
No, I would rather swim my 52 seconds than a minute and 57 seconds. Well, I guess it would be long course. Then my probably 2:15, or I don't know, I'm giving an estimate. I would rather swim under a minute than over 2 minutes.
There we go. That's how I know you really are a sprinter. You have me worried with some of this conversation that you're not really a sprinter. So glad to hear it's still in there.
It's still in there.
But a lot of times when we think of sprinters, I think most people think of, power, explosive off the block, like Gretchen or Caleb just wrecking people off the block. But you, like I mentioned earlier, you just close so well. A lot of times with those that are so explosive off the block, and a lot of times with sprinters, I think it's like, oh, it's natural, right? It's just their natural ability. So with your ability to close, do you think that is something that's natural to you? Do you think it's more mental? Do you think it's, you liking 1250s off the block? Maybe not liking, but, going into that set, knowing that that's what makes you able to close? Like, how much of these do you think is percentile of what contributes to this?
Yeah, I definitely think my back half is attributed to the work that I put in and how much emphasis I put into the back half of my race.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like over my career in general, I haven't put a lot of emphasis into the front end at all. I definitely feel like I should be closer at 25 yards or 25 meters in a 53 than I am. And, if I were to go back and look at the workouts that I've done, majority of them is on the back end of my 200 free or the back end of my 100 free. It's not about the first 25 or the first 35 meters of those races, which is good. I think it allows for that improvement to come, hopefully later on in my career. And that's something that is at the top of my list to improve on. My start, I feel like, hasn't been the same since 2021, 2019. Just with everything I experienced, I just still feel like I haven't gotten that explosive kick again. So that's something that I want to work on. And underwaters, like, that's the name of the game. Nowadays, whether it's short course or long course, that's something that I feel like I need to catch up on. And so it's never been the best talent in my swimming, but it's room for growth, and I think that's really exciting. But to answer your question, I think it really just boils down to the training that I've done to really have that good back half.
And not only good back off, we were talking about it before the show as well. It's getting your hand on the wall before somebody else. Brian, you talk about this all the time. What is it about you? Was it when you're growing up, like, you got to grab that food first, or you got to get there first? Like, how come you just happen to, like, get there before Luke gets there? We're both here, but somehow you get there first.
Somehow, Luke, you're always in the race. Yeah. I don't know how your analogies, you're always up with these people in your analogy.
When you said Luke, I was like, Luke Hobson? I'm like, I definitely haven't out.
There we go. Yeah, maybe you met Luke Hobson. Yeah, that's more closer.
Luke's trying to manifest elite swimming into his life.
I know.
Dream it to see it, right?
Yeah, maybe just my long fingers. I don't know.
Could be it.
I've always been super competitive as a kid. Didn't matter what it was, card games, video games. Like, if I wasn't good at it, I didn't care. I wanted to try to beat you. And it's weird because I don't have really good reflexes. Like, my reaction time off the blocks isn't very solid. But I think it's just my knack to kind of get my head down and just push the last 5 meters. I think it is attributed also to that work that I put in. You do those sets all the time, and you push off the wall maybe for 50 number 12. The first 25 meters feel good, and the next 10 meters don't feel too good. But the last 5 meters, you feel like you have to get yourself to get this burst of energy, because, like I said, that's what a race is going to feel like. And I think it really just goes down to me really pushing through the pain and really trying to get my hand on the wall.
The term that I shared with Luke before and have is killer instinct. And I didn't coin that term. I feel like I maybe heard it from David Marsh once, but there's those that have it and those that don't have it. And I'll be the first to say, like, I didn't have it. Like, there were moments where I showed up with the lights on and had a great performance. And there are other moments where the lights were on and I was like, don't know why I couldn't bring my heart rate down, Mm-hmm. And I think that comes from somewhere. I think it can be developed, and I think that it can be innate. Objectively, from the outside, not having talked to you before, it sure seems like you've got that. And I'm curious, like, if you've always had it, and if there's moments where you stand behind the block and like have doubt, or are you so adept at coming into that mindset that every time that you're, obviously you have to do the work to be there, and there may be moments where you haven't done the work that call into question this, but is that effortful for you to be in that space? Do you even realize that you have it? Can you just talk to us about that killer instinct, the mindset that you stand behind the block and know that you've got a chance to win? Because I think that leads to that finish, not just the work. And so I'm curious, like, what it is from somebody like you who seems to be really good at it.
Yeah, I definitely think I had it at a young age. My parents would probably be better at answering this question than I would, but definitely as a young swimmer, club swimmer, a summer league swimmer, I had it. I mean, it's a different kind of, I guess it's hard to kind of correlate the two because, club swimming may be a little different than summer league swimming. Now it's like everybody's good. The wins and losses are dictated by margins. But I think that killer instinct in me definitely comes from the work. It definitely comes from how competitive I am. And the reason I say the work is I always feel the most confident when I'm standing behind the blocks, when I know I have a lot of work in the tank, when I know I have, as I like to say, a lot of coins in the bank. When you go to the meets, you're withdrawing. And that's why I feel like when I step up at a world championships or I step up at Olympic trials, that for the most part, the race is going to go well. Things happen. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But in those moments, I feel like I have no reason to doubt because I can look at a whole slew of workouts where I've gone and I've just kicked butt. I gave everything I've had. And so on this day, it should show up. Hopefully it will show up. And so I think that's where that killer instinct or that mindset or that confidence when I'm behind the blocks comes from. And I'll be honest, the past couple years, I have struggled a lot with my confidence. Just coming back from 2021, taking 6 months off, getting into a new training environment, relearning how to swim, how to love the sport again, not having a lot of competitions under my belt, not having a lot of deposits. I honestly felt like when I got to Olympic trials, I didn't have that killer instinct. Like I didn't have that immense confidence in my ability to get up on the blocks and know that this race is going to be good. Like I was so doubtful of myself. And I think the biggest doubt came before the 53, if I'm to be honest. I kind of alluded to it post-race interview. I had the semifinal, and obviously Gretchen and Tori swam amazing in that semifinal. And I'm looking at their time, I'm looking at my time. I'm like, I'm 3 or 4 tenths back. Like that's a lot in a 50. Like I wanted an individual spot so bad. Like that was my goal coming back. I wanted an individual spot. Didn't think it was going to come in the 53. I thought it would come in the 100, shooting for the stars. And so I was so doubtful before that 53. I got back to the Airbnb and I was like, I can just call it quits. Just be grateful that you made the Olympic team. Like I did not want to swim the 53 for a while, but then I had to kind of just step back and be like, you know what? I still have to do this race. I want to see what my hard work has done. And the only thing I can do is try to step up on the blocks with no fear. And I told myself, I've done some crazy things in this sport. I can do it again. And a lot of that in some ways was lying to myself, but also I feel like a lot of it really was just trying to build myself up to have some sort of confidence to dive off the blocks and just see what I could do. So I do have those moments. They're not often, to be honest. And I'm saying that because I know that I work really hard, but I've had them oftentimes and more often these past couple of years. And I even had it honestly 2 weeks ago because I am just someone, I want to race when I know I'm really ready. I want to race when I know I'm dominant. And being in this, journey where, I was at the top and then kind of falling back to the bottom and working my way up the top, it has taken a hit to my confidence. And I'm just learning to be okay with where I am and how I'm performing now and the work that I'm putting in, and knowing that eventually the hard work will pay off and that my confidence will grow. But it has been a journey. It's been very unfamiliar territory for me, to be honest. And it's something that I'm grappling with, but it's also something that I've been okay with because at least for me, I feel like, okay, I have 4 years now. I'm not on a consolidated timeline, and the work that I do every day hopefully will build that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Simone, I can't.
That was really long. I'm so sorry.
No, that's awesome.
It's
So
exactly
thoughtful.
what I wanted to talk about, because I can't underline on how important it is what you just said. Two things. One, could you imagine 15-year-old Riley Erisman, finals Olympic trials in 53, and there walks Simone Manuel, and she gets the flashbacks of all your achievements since she was a baby. She sees the champion, go medal, and she is like, holy crap, Simone is in a spot. She's going to win this. She's so confident. She's got it. She has nothing to worry about. I am the one who's worried. Not her. Simone's got this. She's been here. And so for you, to talk so vulnerably about what you went through and what you do, and then even at the trials, you mentioned how you did it. You said you watch a bunch of videos of your victories to give yourself that. So you have those tools. That is so important for so many to hear, because a lot of us are not there to be able to admit that we're scared, admit we're not in the right place, especially in those moments. And that's a big turning point. And you're still turning, aren't you? Right? In that journey. Is it your faith, your family, your coaches, your husband? I mean, what got you to this, to use these tools and get you to be turning?
Oh my goodness, all of it. My faith is extremely important to me. My parents have always told my two older brothers and I that we need to use our talents to glorify God, and we need to use our talents to give back to people and try to make the world a better place. And I'm grateful enough to feel like swimming has allowed me that opportunity to inspire people, to hopefully provide advice and mentorship, whatever area I can do that from my performances or from the way I speak. I want to do that because we're all struggling through something. We're all working towards a goal or wanting to achieve something. And if I can help make that journey easier for someone, then that's what I'll do. Whether my journey's hard or easy, we all are, there's so many things that make us similar than that makes us different. And so that's kind of been what I've tried to do, is just try to be more vulnerable, explain what I'm going through, what my experiences are, the good and the bad, because we're all going to see the good and the bad. But beyond that, definitely my family. My family has been so supportive of me from the start. My parents have always reminded me that they don't care. They literally do not care what I achieve in the sport of swimming. I mean, they're obviously super proud of me, but they've always just let swimming come from me. It's never been pressure filled. It's always been my responsibility. Like, I set my alarm to get up for practice, and I woke them up in the morning to say, hey, somebody's going to drive me to practice. Like, it came from me. They didn't want to kind of, I wouldn't say they didn't guide my journey, because parents do that, but they didn't force me into certain areas in the sport. They just did whatever they could to support me. And I remember after 2021, my mom looking at me and saying, like, we're going to be proud of you regardless. We're going to love you whether you swim another lap or not. And that meant a lot to me during that time. I was in a really, really dark place. I felt like my identity was tied to the sport. And especially with how I performed in 2019 to kind of how I performed in 2021, I was like, oh my goodness, people are going to just think I'm a fluke. People are going to think that I'm not as good as what I actually am, or all these things that unfortunately people did say to me, like, I kind of took to heart. And just to have that love and support from my family was so special. Yeah. Coaches, Like, I definitely think I had two of the best with Bob and Herbie. I can't thank them enough for how they helped me over the past couple years. My club coach, Coach Allison, I still talk to her every now and then, and our talks are never short, but they're so good. And she's kind of like another mom. Like, she's like my parents. Like, she could care less. She's just proud of me and the person that I've become. And I think that takes the pressure off of things. And Bob and Herbie just made swimming fun for me again. Honestly, I don't know how they coached me throughout the process. Like, they saw a lot of unsuccessful work and very, very small baby steps towards progress. And they continue to keep me motivated. Like, they continue to, I wouldn't say keep me excited to come to practice, because some days I really didn't want to come back. I was not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but they just allowed me space to kind of go through all the emotions that I was going through within the process. And then obviously my husband, like, he's just so supportive. He played college football, so he gets it. He gets the grind. He gets the sacrifices. He gets the ebbs and the flows of success and failure. And he's always someone I can lean on. And beyond that, I think he makes life fun. And when life's fun, I think swimming ends up being fun. All the other areas of your life end up being so enjoyable. And so I'm really grateful to have like this community of people around me that I feel like nurture Simone more than nurture Simone the swimmer, because that is just like a byproduct of what happens when I have people around me that give me so much. And same with my teammates. Like I had such special teammates at ASU that, oh my goodness, were cheering me on, listening to me vent in the locker room if I needed to about a bad practice, and just kept me uplifted. So I really have a special group and community around me.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it. And obviously for anyone to, make such a great comeback, you often hear about the community and how it's not just one person. So yeah, it's great to hear all the support you had. And, listening to you, I'm always curious about sets and practices and kind of what you're feeling during them. Were there, when you were first getting back, was there any set or practice when you're like, oh man, this is not happening, or like one that stands out? And then were there, on the other end of it, were there any sets where you're like, hey, I'm getting there. I feel like I'm getting back to it.
Well, to be honest, like the whole first season. So I got to Arizona August 15th of 2022. So the whole first season, I feel like I was depositing pennies into the bank. Like they were not big coins at all. Like the penny was just showing up and completing the workout.
Yeah, this suit don't fit the way it used to.
No, it didn't. That's another story. I gained like 35 pounds. Like I had to lose all that weight. And that's something I want to talk about in more depth. We don't have to do it here. But it was a whole experience, just top to bottom, of getting back to what people would deem, I guess, when they see me, as a fit Simone, like a competition ready Simone, what people are used to seeing when I step up on the blocks for a pro swim series, world championships, Olympics. But that time, like I felt like every practice was bad. I think Bob and Herbie would say different, because given the circumstance, they probably were better than I thought, but I'm someone that's extremely hard on myself. Also something I'm working on, and as people we need to work on. But the sets during that year that killed me were the color sets. Like I said, I just could not get it right. Color sets are usually long, so it's like your 3,000 yard main set. So you got to be on for those 3,000 yards. And the beginning, they were not good. He was modifying them. My intervals were probably like 115 base for hundreds, 200s, 300s. And as we got through the year, I was able to do them better. It started with me beginning well and on the heart rate. And once I got to red, I wasn't good. And then it got to me actually being able to do them fairly well. But I remember one of the sets that was really bad was, it was like, I don't know the intervals, but it was 100. And then you do 100, a 200, and then 100, a 200, a 300. and 100, a 200, a 300, a 400, 100, a 200, a 300, a 400, and a 500.
Fun.
And I got to get out, but the end is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. And the intervals, like, they change as you keep going up.
Why that direction? Go the other direction, not that direction. Go big, small.
That sucks. I don't want to do that.
No.
I know. And I remember Bob handing me the sheet, and it was one of those days where I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna tell me I'm gonna do something different. Yeah. The only modification was that I didn't have to do the 1 all the way up to 600, but I'm like, I need modification, like from the 1 to the 3, like, and you're making me do the 4 and the 5 twice. But yeah, and I think that it didn't even matter how I did. Like at that point, it was just about doing it. And I did it. It was ugly. And yeah, as I mentioned, like that whole first year, most of those sets, like the threshold sets, the color sets, the pace sets where we did a decent amount of 50s pace, like I was falling off. The active rest sets, I was falling off. The sprint sets weren't that great either. They probably just felt better because they were shorter, but my times relative to what I know I could go weren't very fast. And I don't feel like I hit my groove until I did the Pro Series Championship. I believe it was in Irvine. I took 2 weeks off and I came back and I was ready to go. And I think that's when my swimming kind of took off, and I was able to see those improvements in training and then in turn at some of those competitions throughout the year.
I just had this like Marvel style transition in my head of you leaving as Simone and coming back as Swimone.
Hey, Bob calls me that a lot. I'm like, he never really calls me Simone. So I'm so used to getting Simone from Bob or some of the guys at ASU. Like it's basically my name now.
Oh my goodness. Hey, I want to hear about your foundation. You know, it's not often that we get to talk to people who are have done the work, have achieved the level, and have channeled that in the direction of giving back to others, leveraging the platform that you have. What's that all about, and how's it going?
It's going well. It's still in the baby stages, and unfortunately, I'm not as involved as I would like to. Obviously, because my full-time commitment is my performances and training to be the best I can. But the Simone Manuel Foundation is really focused on bringing awareness and accessibility of swim lessons to the Black community, being a minority in the sport of swimming and wanting to see the sport grow and diversify, but ultimately provide the life-saving skill of swim lessons, especially to my community, is extremely important to me. And so I started the foundation a couple of years ago. I've been able to do some events. I went to the Battle of the Burr and did an event there and was able to work with the swimmers there, which was really an awesome opportunity, something that I never probably thought I would be able to do in my career, and to really interact with the Black community and get some insights and understanding on their journeys, because they're different, but they're so vastly similar. And I just want to use my foundation to, one, provide those life-saving skills, but for any young Black athlete that is wanting to pursue the sport of swimming, I want to provide that mentorship. I want to provide resources that allows them to navigate this space. Because as grateful as I am for my journey in the sport of swimming, I know it has been difficult and hard because I am a Black swimmer. And I want to provide that information and insight to allow someone to be able to navigate these waters in an easier and better way to keep them in the sport. Because so many Black swimmers that I've talked to, or people that I've connected with over the past years, whether it was National Diversity Select Camp, many of them quit and weren't able to see their full potential because they just felt like swimming wasn't for them, or they just didn't feel like they fit in. And I just wanted to be shown that swimming is a welcoming space, but there also are experiences that you are going to have, and you're going to have to find a way to navigate through them. And since I have done that and gotten to the top level, I want to provide that information and knowledge towards the Black community. But really anybody, like I'm really excited about coming out. I'll have a resource guidebook coming out. So it's kind of like a YouTube channel, but not really. But there's various questions that I've gotten via DM that can apply to any swimmer. Like, what should you look for in a club coach? What are some mental health tips and tricks? Like, all of those can be applied to any swimmer. So it's not just for my community. That primarily is the focus, but I also just want to reach anybody and everybody that wants to learn more about swimming and get involved.
Hell yeah.
I wanna ask a question. So I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, and it was never something I saw or experienced at all as a swimmer. Not obviously I'm white, but as a swimmer. Until I was 18, I went to Canada and I trained and I raced in Canada, I raced in the States. And you see it at the meets. You see that, oh my God, I have never saw so many white people in my life. Ever, right?
Yeah.
What's going on? But then later in my career, when I moved to New York, I've been here in New York 3 years now. I am a Black community, and the community center my kids swim at. Sometimes I swim at, boys. It's it's a Black community center, except for the swim team. The swim team. So you walk on deck. I'm like, wait a second. And it's always shocking to me that the weight room, the gym, everything, there are no whites there, but everybody's in the pool. And your website says inspiring all people to live with intention and dream beyond traditional assumptions.
Yes.
This is probably gonna come out in Black History Month. What are you doing? How did you get to be able to be where you're at? And what are your tangible things might you say to somebody who is non-white, who is in New York at a community center? What's something tangible you can tell them to inspire them or get beyond the stigmas that are attached to the sport?
Yeah, I think there was a point in my swimming career, very young, 12 years old. I was really, really doubtful of if this was something I wanted to pursue. I feel like that's around the age when you've tried a lot of different sports. You're trying to figure out your passions, and you kind of pigeonhole into, okay, I want to do soccer, I want to do basketball, I want to do whatever. And I was trying to figure out, honestly, between swimming and ballet, if I wanted to swim. And my mom told me to choose, and I told her I wanted to do ballet. Nice. She was like, okay, we'll let you do both for the next year. Because she knew, she's like, ballet is not it, okay? But I think that thought process or that decision really came from feeling like swimming wasn't for me, that I didn't fit in. As you mentioned, like I looked around and I'm like, okay, I'm the only one, or maybe there's 2 or 3 of us here and there's 800 swimmers at the swim meet. Like, is this a space where I belong? And I doubted myself, but I also dealt with doubts from other people. I had gotten comments. I had gotten snarky remarks about being a swimmer or, even on the pool deck from other swimmers. And that's why I said, like, I know that some of our experiences are different, but also I know that they're vastly similar when it comes to the Black community and swimming. Yeah. But so I was dealing with that internal tug and pull of like, I love this, but I'm maybe not the happiest here, or I don't feel welcome here, or feel like I belong here, or can I be good at this because I don't see many Black people on the podium? Like, is this a possibility for me? And, I had a lot of conversations with my parents about it. And I came to the conclusion from what they were telling me that I couldn't let anyone stand in my way, even myself. Like, if I have a passion, desire, and drive for this, like, I have to push through this obstacle, because yes, this obstacle feels like the hardest thing in my life right now, but you're going to get older and there's probably going to be another obstacle that feels like the hardest thing in your life. And this is only going to teach you and allow you to grow and tackle something else later on down the line. But it all really boiled down to me taking ownership of my passion and love for the sport of swimming. And as I mentioned, not letting anyone stand in my way, even myself, because I had so many doubts about if this is something I could do and be good at. And so that would just be my advice to anyone that feels othered or doesn't feel like they fit into a specific box, the stereotype, who is battling misconceptions, whether it's a Black person in swimming or any other stereotype that is in our sphere. I think it's really important to, one, put your passion at the forefront, and two, not allow someone else's opinion of you or opinion and belief of something that really is not fact keep you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. Because an opinion is an opinion. It's not a fact.
Exactly. No, and the importance of representation is incredible. I talked to these guys about Anthony Nestine, 88. That was my inspiration. Not color my skin, but he was born in Trinidad, and somebody from Trinidad could win a gold medal. What the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, I can open the door maybe. And then in Black communities, Edith Bridgerton in 1976 and what she did there, and obviously yourself being as well. That representation is so important, but not just in swimming, but in so many other sports, Misty Copeland in ballet, for instance. And then what you're doing with Sue Bird and what you're doing with Alex Morgan and all the other sports for women in sports. Talk about that organization being part of, and we can't pronounce it. Together.
It's together. It's just together.
TOGETHXR. I don't know.
Together. I know people are like, you're not the only one. But yeah, it's just it's a really special company. It was the brainchild of Alex Morgan, but she really was wanted to bring a group of women together, which which I think was really special, and wanted those co-founders to be a representation of what we see in the world. We have a Black woman, we have Chloe Kim, we have herself, and we have Sue Bird, and all the different identities that we bring to the table. And it's really just about, in my opinion, women empowerment, just showcasing what women can do, what women can be, what we have accomplished, and bringing, more than anything, media representation to women. I don't know the exact stat, and I know that the numbers are always changing for the better, which is really good. But at one point, we were getting no media coverage. I shouldn't say no, but 40% of the media coverage or 20% of the media coverage. And so Together is really a space where we can tell these women's stories and give everyone a platform to be able to showcase who they are as athletes, but who they are as individuals. And so I think it's a really awesome community, and we've been doing amazing work, and really excited to see the progression of the company and where we can go. So many people are following, and that's what we wanted. It's so special to see how women are being uplifted.
Yeah, the following is huge.
Yeah, don't underestimate how many people are inspired by either of those foundations you're on. I mean, Giles Smith talks about how inspired he was what you guys did in 2017 in season at Podium. My daughter is inspired by what Alex Morgan is doing on the stage and being so open for pregnancy and being a woman who in sport. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And equal pay and all that. Yeah, Alex Morgan is just a rock star. Who you inspire or who gets inspired by you. It's incredible. Sorry, Brian.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just curious if you knew anything about, I don't know if the sample size is big enough within swimming to be able to measure, our female professional athletes in swimming on par and being compensated equal to or equal to the men. Do you know anything about that? Is that measurable yet? Is that something you're striving for? Or is it not really focused on swimming specifically and just more general? Just curious.
Just more, I think it's more general. I think all of us want people to get paid what they're worth. Totally. At the end of the day. And I'm not sure if it's measurable in swimming. To be honest, but I think for all of us, it's just about being paid what you're worth. If you're out there killing it and breaking all the records and breaking world records, I don't think it should be we'll get the man all the money because he's got a 6-pack or whatever. I don't know. Just get paid what you're worth. And so I don't know with swimming, to be honest.
Yeah. Is that the argument for women racing in 2 pieces so that there's more 6-pack in the game?
don't know, but I just, Shaq was wrong. We'll just say that.
But women in sport is something that we don't talk about enough, and we're open about. You're at a program right now with one of the best coaches we've ever seen in the sport, who happens to be a woman, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
That's the side of it. Who's produced this? You've talked about issues about weight, briefly, and how that affects you. Hair. If we went, there's so many things that we are yet still to go, and so far to go, and say sport especially. So by being a strong athlete in our sport is helping my 11-year-old daughter be up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got a cramp for a moment there. Oh.
She's gonna choose basketball. Sorry.
She's balling now, though. Yeah.
I am not mad at basketball. I love basketball. Like, I have WNBA League Pass. I have been tapping into the Unrivaled games. Like, if she plays, I will be courtside.
There it is. Luke's all about basketball too, so that's why. That's the influence. It's an NBA family, a Warriors family. Unfortunately,
watching.
Not going so well.
Not playing. Okay.
Luke's not playing basketball.
Luke's not playing basketball. Come on. All right. So we just got some rapid fire questions for you. We'll wrap up. What's the hardest race in swimming?
Gosh, I knew I was getting this one. I would say the 2-back long course.
Legs. Olympic gold or world record?
Olympic gold.
In which event?
But I do want a world record, so we'll see.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no.
Let's go get
I
it.
would say 100 free.
Okay.
Again, that'd be cool.
Again, yeah.
100 free again would be cool. All right, 3 apps on your phone. You only get to keep 3. The rest get deleted. Which ones are you keeping?
Instagram. Is FaceTime considered an app?
Sure.
I guess it's already on your phone. Candy Crush.
I don't think we've gotten another game before. Maybe we have Solitaire or somebody old.
Well, I just did download that 2 weeks ago, so I've been on a roll there.
All right, no offense. All right, what's the hardest set you've ever done?
Okay, so we did this set of 60/50s long course.
Oof.
I'm gonna try to explain this well, but you do 1 easy, 1 fast, then 2 easy, 2 fast, 3 easy, 3 fast, 4 easy, 4 fast, 5 easy, 5 fast. You're doing that twice. But the first round of 30, the easy is freestyle on 50, and the fast is fly on 40.
Ooh.
And then the second round, it's the reverse. So the free is on fast on 40. No, the free is easy on 40, and the fast is fly on 50. Now, disclaimer, I didn't do it butterfly.
Okay.
It's written butterfly. I did a freestyle. Bob was nice. That was my modification. But everybody else who hears this set and who did it might have PTSD.
I have PTSD and I didn't do it.
You're giving it to us. Jeez.
Yeah, geez. John's the one who's talking about every time he goes to the pool when he's bored. He's like, all right, 2025's butterfly. So I feel like, John, you got to do that next time. Next time it's 50s long course on 40.
I don't know if I'm finishing many 50s long course fly right now. In all
You don't have that
honesty.
wall.
Those turns are huge. When you look down, that's a long way.
Yeah, not legally. Gonna have to do some single arm in there. But the second one would for me would have to be 10 300s freestyle long course.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
On
a descending interval.
Okay.
What's that get down to?
I think it's like starts at 4 minutes and goes down by 5 seconds, I think, to 3:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm not into
As a sprinter, that's really one of those days where I'm like, man, you could have put me over there.
Yeah, 100%.
The reaction drills.
Yeah.
Work on reaction drills today.
Exactly.
Yeah, no thanks. All right, what's the best race that you ever saw live? The best swim performance you ever saw live?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with the most recent one, which was Bobby Feek's 1500.
Very
Like
good.
that was just so cool. Especially watching him attack it from the beginning. Like we're so used to him like kind of hanging out, which I shouldn't say hanging out because he's obviously working really hard.
Yeah.
But it's like
Easy 58s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging out and then just like blasting the last 50, but just to see him like attack from the beginning and like be under the pace, and just watching that live at the Olympics in the team area was, oh my gosh, I had chills.
Yeah, that would have been cool to be in the team area with you guys. I was watching that live too, and I remember thinking the same thing. Like, oh, that definitely not what I predicted to happen or anybody else did.
Exactly.
So used to the same formula. So you're like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And even Bob,
I know you're
said
like,
the
please
same
don't
thing.
die.
He's like, well, I'm out here, so let's see what happens. I guess I better keep going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
He was
John.
just Simoning him in the mile, right? Isn't that what we're calling it?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But it's what it meant for Team USA as well, because Team USA men
right.
needed that race.
Yeah. It was a great way to cap off the meet for sure.
Yeah. All right. I'll be honest. Will there be social kick in this color workout this afternoon?
No. I haven't. So I'm going to be honest. I have not had social kick. Oh, that's a lie. Well, before I got to Austin, I hadn't had social kick, like basically since I got back in.
Yeah, we got a bone to pick with Herbie on that. I know he's not like real big on it, so.
But I had social kick 2 Fridays ago. So my first week here, Friday we had social kick, and also that Thursday our warm down was a 200 social kick. So I actually had it 2 days in a row. But other than that, like
luxury.
I haven't had it in a minute.
You got to celebrate those opportunities when they come and be thankful for them. So hey, that's cool. Next time it comes, you'll be like, hell yeah, it's a real treat.
Yes.
It's been a real treat to talk to you, Simone. Thank you so much for spending the time with us and sharing some of your story. We're really excited about your re-entry to the water and a new program. Don't rule the 200 IM out. It's got potential.
It's got
we had some of the audience asking about that breaststroke, so let's keep it going.
I asked to do the 100 breath.
Oh.
And he said, I don't want you to do that publicly. So maybe if I get to do 100 breaths in practice as a get out swim, I'll have someone video it and you guys will be the first one to get it. I promise.
Those pullouts.
I got pullouts, yeah.
What do you think you could go though in 100 breaths?
Well, I did a 25 breaths today this morning and I was 16 seconds. So let me get a dive.
Okay,
I'll give myself a one. It's not exactly. I'll give myself a 103.
All right. I'll give you 103. 103 sounds.
I need more time, guys. Give me more time. Like Bob's only had 2 weeks with my breaststroke, and I haven't done much of it, so I just need more time.
Just let us know. Whenever they cross that bridge, just check back in with us, and we'll have our local breaststroke correspondent in Austin to give us the rundown. So
exactly.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Such a pleasure getting to talk to you, and we hope to have the opportunity sometime in the future.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. That's it for this episode of Social Kick. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
See ya.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming and we'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment and we'll see you next time.